order spell it?
Yes, Michael Garrett, spelled Michaelgarrett.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Please go ahead.
Again, I would like to say thank you and good afternoon to everybody today. I am Michael Garrett, father of our beautiful world hero, Aniya Marie Garrett. In the words of Martin Luther King, justice denied anywhere diminishes justice everywhere. In this instance, some justice has been served. Aniya Marie Garrett, my daughter, who was murdered on March 11, 2018, devastates my entire life, my family, and the whole entire world. I want to thank you today, Judge Timothy McCormick, for your honesty in a court of law. I trust you to fairly apply the law and deliver the maximum conviction possible, and that you do just that. To the jury, I thank them as well. Thank you very much also for reaching a deserving verdict. To the media, I would like to thank you for shedding light on Aniya's life, on the beautiful angel and little girl that my daughter is. To all our supporters around the world, I would like to thank you all so very much for all your love.
Before this statement begins, understand what you're about to hear isn't just grief. It's a victim impact statement, a legally recognized moment where families speak directly to the court. This is one of the few times emotion and law collide in open court, and the judge is required to consider this during sentencing.
In my opinion, the death penalty would be fair. But then again, that would be too easy for the torture and death of a 4-year-old child. I did everything I could to protect Aniya from danger and to keep her out of harm's way, as a loving father would and should. Lewis didn't care as he watched my daughter suffer for months because she was not his child. It was not his life. He did not care to help protect Aniya. So weak of a man. Sierra Day, Aniya's birth mother, how could you torture and murder your own flesh and blood, your daughter, my beautiful princess, my angel, my perfect Aniya? Anybody who can hurt a child is a coward and should be penalized and have the maximum of life in prison. From this very day, from the very first day of my daughter's life, September 2nd, 2013, I have been there for Aniya, teaching my daughter how to walk, how to talk, how to read, how to write, how to feed herself, how to recognize and appreciate the beautiful things in life. Teaching Aniya things like little things a human should just know, or a child should know. My daughter was only 4 years old. I look forward to the day I could walk my daughter into preschool or even kindergarten, watching her grow up to be smart and amazing, graduating to 5th grade, going off to middle school, and then off to high school. I look forward to teaching Aniya how to drive and buying her first car someday. She would have begun to fly on her own journey and go off to college and getting a master's degree in whatever my baby desired. I would have been right there to support her every step of the way. Right there every step of the way. Those were the desires I had for my daughter before her life was cut short at 4 years old. These two murderers, these two monsters, ruined my entire life. There are not enough words to recover this. You have ruined my life, leaving Aniya, my daughter, with no future of any kind. They should be put away forever. I hope and pray Aniya receive the justice that we deserve. I will be Aniya's voice that will be heard to the monsters like Sierra Day and Deontay Lewis and abusive caretakers from seeing the light of day. I will also be the voice against other children, for other children, being disregarded and mis-
That line hits hard, but here's the legal reality. In Ohio, the death penalty applies only under very specific statutory conditions, and this case moved through aggravated murder sentencing guidelines instead. The emotional call for maximum punishment clashes with what the law actually allows, and that tension defines this entire courtroom moment.
fighting for the Aniya law. I will continue to fight for great fathers everywhere, pushing for awareness to the fact that because a woman carries and delivers a child does not simplify she deserves better parenting or has better parenting. Lastly, I am a God-fearing man, an advocate for child abuse prevention, a hip-hop entertainer. Don't define who I am by how I look or how I dress. Define me based off my actions and the impact that I leave in this world. I truly hope this never happens to no other child ever again on this planet, as it should not have happened to Aniya Marie Garrett. Our children should not be dying to selfish abuse. In the words of Alexander Hamilton, I think the first duty of society is justice. I thank you for your time.
Yeah, Sharon, you start out and certainly applaud your courage.
Thank you very much, Judge.
Your Honor, the purposes and principles of sentencing are to punish the offender and to protect our public. Your Honor, you sat through this entire case, and I'm not here before you to belabor what happened in this matter. But I think it is worthy of note the defendant's individual actions in this matter. Sierra Day is the mother to this child. She was entrusted with the care and the protection of this child. But what did we learn during the course of this trial? Even before her relationship with Deontay, she was abusing her own daughter and covering it up. There was a nick on the nose, a blood in the ear, scratches on her forehead, scratches under her eyes, black eyes, and various other injuries. Then their method.
This is where personal tragedy turns into public accountability. Notice the shift. It's no longer just about what happened to one child. It becomes a broader indictment of systemic failure, child protection gaps, and institutional blind spots. This is how individual cases start turning into policy conversations.
Clean house, we have food in our refrigerator, and the little girl is fine. You know how little kids are, they're clumsy. If I heard that word once, I heard it 10,000 times, that this child was clumsy, and she caused her own injuries. But it was her that isolated the child. It was her who lied to the daycare workers. It was her that lied to CCDFS. And it was her that took this child out of daycare in January of 2018. And then it was the both of them from January of 2018 to March 11th, the day this child died or her body was found. Judge, they isolated her, they beat her. They let her lie in her own bed, laden with urine. They didn't feed her, and you saw the malnutrition. Aniya Day looked like an Auschwitz survivor, Your Honor. You could count each rib on that little body. You could see her protruding clavicle bone. You could see her hip bones. You could see her little thighs were smaller than her knees. Her photographs will be forever etched in the jury's mind, in our minds. Aniya suffered 2 strokes, and yet nobody cared for her. They didn't seek medical treatment. Mr. Garrett tried to be vigilant. Erica Johnson tried to be vigilant as an aunt, asking for help. But yet, the prolonged, protracted death of Aniya Day still went on. She languished and she suffered, and nobody heard her, Judge. Nobody. So I hope today, Judge, you hear her. And you hear her through what she suffered. And that should be the sentence. Because here in our society, if we see a dog limping on the street, we call the APL. And we call the Humane Society to help that dog. Human beings kill people. They kill children. I was at the Court of Appeals this morning, and they said, oh, children's cases are very emotional. No, Aniya Day was a human being in our community. She happens to be a child. And that is not to inflame passion. Human beings kill people, not agencies. Sierra Day and Deontay Lewis failed this child as human beings miserably. As a parent, a person who went over, whether the person went over a week, a day, every other day, they would have seen this child didn't get up out of bed. She required help. So when someone stands before you and says, well, he just went over there and ate and they had sex and they did this, that is a sorry excuse for human beings in action in our community. And you don't get a pass for that. And lastly, Your Honor, you heard Dr. Philo say she got a bruise on her face 2 days before she died. And again, I say to you, what could that child have done to merit a bruise on her eye? Did she moan? Did she ask for water? Did she defecate on herself? Their inactions caused her death. Their actions caused their death. And the penalty is commiserate with that. They took a life, and their life should be behind bars. And I respectfully request that on March 11th of every year that they both sit in solitary and think about what they did to that child. Because they're the ones that did that to that child. Nobody else. There's no boogeyman. There's no red herring. They are the 2 individuals that decided to kill a child, and they did it methodically for 3 months. Impose the sentence that this case demands, and listen to Aniya Day's voice. Thank you.
Anything further on behalf of the state?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Good. On behalf of the defense, Mr. Shaughnessy?
Thank you, Your Honor, for please the court. We're certainly mindful that any sentence that you impose here this afternoon is a life sentence. We would ask you to consider imposing a sentence that would entrust the parole board at some point in the future with determining if Sierra is suitable and acceptable for release. Judge, I'd ask you to find Sierra indigent for purposes of fines and costs, also indigent for purposes of appeal, and
assume your client does not wish to address the court.
She does not, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Gay or Ms. Longino,
May it please the court.
you can remain seated, sir.
Oh, thank you. For me too?
You too.
Oh, thank you, Judge. First, I'd like to begin by sharing the pity that all of us feel for children. For the loss of this child. But the verdict is in. Deontay Lewis has been determined to be guilty of a number of criminal offenses, the most serious of which is aggravated murder. As counsel for the defendant, we take issue with the jury's decision as we believe the verdict is inconsistent with the evidence presented in this case. Mr. Lewis is 27 years of age and has no criminal record. It is well documented by daycare records that Aniya Day, the 4-year-old victim in this case, suffered abuse by her mother on a number of occasions long before these defendants ever met and began dating. It is also clear that Mr. Lewis did not reside with the mother of Aniya, had no clothes or other personal items on the premises to support the state's contention that he resided there. And notwithstanding the documented abusive history of the mother toward Aniya, Deontay Lewis was made to sit with the mother at trial as a co-defendant, which was highly suggestive and prejudicial toward his legal interests. In fact, if I was sitting next to Sierra Day during the trial, I believe I would have been convicted of something as well. Your Honor, the 38 sworn witnesses who gave testimony during the course of this trial, not one had anything to say that would call into question Mr. Lewis's character or conduct toward the child. Now we anticipate that Deontay Lewis will be sentenced to life in prison with parole eligibility after serving 20 years in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code 2929.031B. Which includes the fact that there was no sexual motivation either in the indictment, and so that part is excluded. Nor did this young man have the history of sexual abuse or convictions. Your Honor, we contend that there was absolutely no proof beyond a reasonable doubt at trial, and presented in the trial of this matter, that would serve to reason in any fashion that this young man did harm to Aniya. And for that reason, we respectfully move this honorable court to enter an order dismissing all charges in this case against Deontay Lewis. Thank you very much, Judge.
Thank you. That request will be denied. Does your client wish to address the court? Please. Go ahead, sir.
You can sit there.
You can remain seated, rather, excuse me.
I love Aniya. I truly do. I did not harm her at all, nor did I do anything to hurt her. As God is my witness, I would never do anything to harm her. I keep my faith in God. I know He has my back, and I put all things in His hands. I'm gonna miss Aniya, and I love her. And as right now, just I have to do what I have to do now. I thank you, your judge, and I thank everybody for listening.
Thank you. Under the felony sentencing statute, the general principles are, the goal is to punish the offender and certainly protect the public. The other felony sentencing statutes are not applicable because aggravated murder is a separate felony which has different penalties than unclassified felony. Here the court has the option of imposing life sentences with parole eligibility after 20 years, after 25 years, after 30 years, or life with no parole. In deciding the penalty here, I've taken into the seriousness of the offense. And I don't believe in 24 years I would offered help at various turns. She rebuffed the offers or misled those seeking answers or outright lied to them. Instead, she inflicted physical harm, which led to a series of strokes, which led to deterioration of organs and ultimately malnutrition. This was not a quick and relatively painless death, but a committed form of torture in my mind. I cannot temper justice with mercy with respect to her behavior. For that reason, she will receive a penalty of life without parole on count one. She will have 3 years on county from concurrent. Mr. Lewis will receive a penalty